Welcome to Introductory Statistics using SPSS 2nd edition. This video shows how to process the Kruskal Wallis test. You can watch the entire video or use the time slider to navigate directly to any time point. The Kruskal Wallis test is quite similar to the ANOVA test. Before proceeding, it's recommended that you first view the video ch06anova.mp4. In terms of setup and results, the Kruskal Wallis test and the ANOVA test are quite similar. Remember that the ANOVA test has three pre-test criteria: normality, N quota, and homogeneity of variance. If there are any violations among these criteria, the Kruskal Wallis test should be used instead of the ANOVA test. To reiterate, when any of the pre-test criteria for the ANOVA test are not satisfied, use the Kruskal Wallis test instead. This example uses the dataset ch06 example 01 ANOVA and Kruskal Wallis test.sav. To run the Kruskal Wallis test, click on Analyze, Non-Parametric Tests, Legacy Dialogues, K-Independent Samples. Move Time to the Test variable list, and move Group to the Grouping variable. Click on Group ? Then click on Define Range. For minimum, enter 1. For maximum, enter 3. This is because we have three groups. The text group is 1, and the video group is 3. Click Continue, click OK, and it'll process. The Kruskal Wallis test produced a p-value of 0.005. Since this is less than or equal to 0.05, this tells us that at least one group statistically significantly outperformed another. To identify which group outperformed which, we'll use the Select Cases function to select two groups at a time and rerun the Kruskal Wallis test each time. First, we'll have the Kruskal Wallis test compare Group 1 and Group 2. Second, we'll run Groups 1 and 3. And finally, we'll run Groups 2 and 3. We'll begin by processing Groups 1 and 2, text and text with illustrations. Click Select Cases. Click If Condition is Satisfied. Click If. In the dialog box, enter Group equals 1 or Group equals 2. Click Continue. Click OK. Now rerun the Kruskal Wallis test. Click on Analyze, Non-Parametric Tests, Legacy Dialogues, K-Independent Samples. Click OK, and it'll process. The p-value of 0.02 is less than or equal to 0.05. This tells us that the text with illustrations group statistically significantly outperformed the text group. Now we'll process Groups 1 and 3, text and video. Click Select Cases. Click If. In the dialog box, enter Group equals 1 or Group equals 3. Click Continue. Click OK. To rerun the Kruskal Wallis test, click on Analyze, Non-Parametric Tests, Legacy Dialogues, K-Independent Samples. Click OK, and it'll process. The p-value of 0.002 is less than or equal to 0.05. This tells us that the video group statistically significantly outperformed the text group. Finally, we'll process Groups 2 and 3, text with illustrations and video. Click Select Cases. Click If. In the dialog box, enter Group equals 2 or Group equals 3. Click Continue. Click OK. To rerun the Kruskal Wallis test, click on Analyze, Non-Parametric Tests, Legacy Dialogues, K-Independent Samples. Click OK, and it'll process. The p-value of 0.371 is greater than 0.05. This tells us that there is no statistically significant difference between the text with illustrations group and the instructional video group. This concludes this video.